How's it going, everybody? Well, here is a new little mini quad or micro quad, whatever you want to call it. Certainly a beginner quad. This is from GearBest, link in description as always. This is the MJX RC X929H. And that's a lot of letters and numbers for a tiny little quad, which appealed to me because it looks like an egg. That's why I like it. And sometimes that's all it takes. Now, if you really want it to look like an egg, you can get this in white. So it comes in black or white. Transmitter needs 3 AA batteries. Should have a single cell 250 milliamp battery pack powering the quadcopter in there. Coreless motors. Has some features like altitude hold. Of course, it's stabilized 6-axis. 1-key takeoff and landing. Headless mode. Return to home. Does some flips. Prop guards in there. Well, let's get everything out of the box and take a closer look at it. You get a little bag with the prop guards. There is your USB charger for the battery, and in there are some spare props. And in that little bag, there are actually 6 spare props. The transmitter is your standard game style transmitter with the thumb pads. A little bit different than what we normally get in that the throttle is actually centered on a spring, just like on a DJI Phantom. So once you're flying, if you want to bring the quad down, you have to pull the throttle stick down. Otherwise, it sits right in the middle there. 1-key takeoff and landing button right here. Your usual trim tabs. Right shoulder is your flip button. It only flips in one direction. Left shoulder is your button to turn the lights on and off, and also to go into headless mode and 1-key return. And then you also have your speed control on the left stick. Push it in like that to change the speed of the quadcopter. That's the basic setup for the transmitter. And here's the quadcopter sitting on the desk, and indeed it is very small and very egg-like. Definitely has a different look to it. It actually kind of reminds me of those little mini RC submarines that you can buy. It's got this bright LED in the front, very short stubby arms, and the battery is actually sealed up inside the quadcopter, so you actually can't get to the battery from the outside. But in the back you have a charging port, and you also have your on-off switch. So there is how you charge the battery and how you turn the quad on and off. And of course, as I mentioned, you have that bright LED light in the front, and you also have some LED lights underneath the quad on the arms, and you can see them flashing right there. Looks like you have kind of orange-red in the front, and you have blue in the back. The prop guards just snap onto the bottom of the motor pods, so they are very easy to take on and off. Anyway, kind of an interesting looking little quadcopter. Let's go ahead and get it charged up, and then we'll take it for some flying. The little flying egg is outside, ready to go. Of course, this quad is going to be good for indoors or outdoors. There's a little bit of breeze, so hopefully it's not going to get blown around too much because it is actually quite tiny. But we'll just do some general flying with it, with the low rates, the high rates. I'm not going to bother with the return to home or the headless mode because they're kind of useless on a little quad like this. And even if headless mode works well, it just kind of throws me off. So I'm not going to bother with that. We'll just fly it around the different rates, do some flips, and just see how it does. And I'm going to use that 1-key takeoff button on the bottom row in the middle right there. So this is low rates right now. And to get it to come down, I gotta pull the throttle down. But it's pretty stable. There's your yaw. That LED in the front is really bright. Quick flips, but just in one direction. Let's put into high rates. A little faster. It's just a funny looking quadcopter, especially with that LED in the front. It's like some sort of eye. I'm not gonna go too far away because I know it's gonna get hard to see it. So this is high rates right now. Still doesn't climb super quick, but gets up there. Bring it down. So it looks like it just flips forward. And if you don't like that LED, those LEDs on the bottom, you can turn them off like I just did, or turn them back on. So I'm back to low rates now. Just gonna hover it. It's gonna drift around a little bit with the breeze and just in general, but it's pretty solid. Back to high rates here. It's a funny looking little quad, I like it. Definitely a good beginner quad. Has some functions, it's not too fast, but it's stable. You've got the prop guards, which are good for indoors. Now that battery is contained, so you can only charge it and then fly it and then recharge it. Can't change the battery. That's kind of one small drawback, but not the biggest deal. And with that throttle stick centering in the middle, it does kind of fly like a Phantom. It just kind of sits level if you let go of the throttle, and then you can increase it to go up, pull it down to come back down. That's about as good as a funnel as you're going to get. It can go pretty quick. Not a bad little quad for the money, I think. Definitely a good beginner quad. And I do like the look of it. Flying egg. I think I might be running out of power here. Yeah, I've got flashing lights, so that's LVC, and now it's coming down. I push the button, well, there it is. Alright guys, there's some flying of the little MJX flying egg. Kind of a different looking quadcopter for sure. Comes in black or white. Again, the link is in the description. It's from GearBest. 5 minutes and 30 seconds of flight time. That's the second time I flew it. I flew it once inside just to test it out, and I did do the auto land thing, and that kind of worked well. So, you know, overall it's got some good features. Now, it's not super quick, but it's good for a beginner. There's no question about that. Very stable, and definitely looks a lot different. It's a funny looking little thing. I like that LED in the front. You can actually see it pretty well when it's far away with that LED, and you can actually keep track of which way it's going just by that. So not bad at all. Now the battery is sealed up inside there, so that's one small limitation. And also it only flips in one direction. So, and it only has 2 speed modes, slow and slightly faster. So it doesn't have a ton of features, but it's inexpensive and it's a good beginner quad. So overall, not bad. I think I like it for a good micro mini quad if you want to start out with something inexpensive and just fly around. Anyway guys, that's the review. Any questions or comments, please post below, and I'll see you next time. Hey, squirrel!